Hola and welcome to the final Revista of the season, a 90-minute review of 2009-10, which ultimately belonged to Barcelona, who successfully defended their La Liga title. This programme is also the day of reckoning for our pundits. We're about to find out who's predicted Barca's triumph correctly and who did not. Who dared back against them? Title favourites Barcelona retain their La Liga championship. Yes, the Catalans are kings of Spain, and this fella rules the world. We hear from the incomparable Lionel Messi. He's told Arsenal he wants to go, so is Cesc Fabregas set to return to Barcelona? Real see no return on their massive investments. Time to ask, what next for Los Blancos? And who's next into their managerial hot seat? Pellegrini's about to go. Is Mourinho set to replace him? Final day drama sees Sevilla finish fourth thanks to a super subs injury time winner. Getafe cruised through a Madrid derby to qualify for the Europa League. But three teams lose their fights for survival. Goals have gone in every which way and records have fallen left, right and centre. Again this year, La Liga has treated us to 38 weeks of the most fantastic football and some sensational stories as well. Our gang of four rarely reach a coalition, but tonight it's time to fess up, fellas. So come on, we asked you in week one if Barca would retain their title. Who said yes and who didn't? Should have guessed. Senor Hunter alongside Guillaume, Gibbo and Jerry in the studio. The Paddles boys are there for yes or no answers, which we want throughout the season. We've tried to get one-word answers from you all season and we've struggled. That's the only route left. Stand by for some tough questioning. OK, for Barca, week 38 was a simple scenario, really. Beat Valladolid and retain the title.
Gets himself in a tangle, and they almost hand Valladolid the lead. Manucho almost scored, and of all people, it was Victor Valdez who put his team in terrible trouble. Piqué and Valdez get themselves in trouble again. Same combination, giving Barcelona self-inflicted problems. Sesma lays the ball back in a deflection, and this is so un-Barcelona-like. Bojan, drifting. Now Keita, only one option, that's Pedro in the penalty area, so Pedro gets it. Pedro, dreadful on goal! Well, Pedro will take the credit, the discredit to Luis Prieto, the central defender, who's never ever going to live that one down. Wonderful football from Barca. Pedro, he's taking that one. 2-0 Barcelona. Let the carnival begin. There goes Yaya Touré. Leaps over the defenders. Will he get one? He passes on the responsibility to an expert in that field, Lionel Messi. Goal 46 of the season. They get better and better and better. Torres played a great game as the attacking midfielder. To Lionel Messi. Makes it look easy. Shelling peas for Lionel Messi. He's now scored as many goals this season as Ronaldo did in his famous season. And there's still time for him to find his hat-trick goal.
Oh, it's a great goal as well. That balance, the skill, the technique. And where is he going now? He's going over to someone. His family, is it?
47 goals this season in 46 starts. 34 goals in 31 matches. And he heads to the stands and celebrates with his mum.
What a proud mum she must be as well. Wonderful night in the Catalonian capital. The party went on for hours and hours and hours. They're still partying now. 99 points from their 38 games, a new record-breaking total of points, top for 28 of the 38 rounds. Jerry, from a footballing point of view, are you pleased that Barca have retained their title?
Yeah, I am. I think, Mark, that they've been the most exciting side in the league, probably the most exciting side in Europe that I've seen over the last, I can't remember. I've been doing Spanish football for 14 years, and that's the best side I've seen. Everybody, whether you're a Barcelona fan or not, wants to watch that style of football, and the entertainment value is brilliant.
They've broken so many records, Gibbo. As a team, are they a team that's worthy of breaking those records, one that should go into the history books for those reasons?
Oh, very much so. I think that they could have done it last season, but they won it with 3 or 4 games left. So they were pushed all the way this year by a very good Real Madrid. And for Barcelona, they finished off in style. It had to be Messi with another 2 goals, and Pedro have been so important to them this year. But I just agree with Jerry that the style of football we all want to see.
OK, well, Real's result was academic then, but at kick-off, Los Blancos were in an equally simple situation. They had to win at Malaga to have any chance of winning the title. Cool, we'll have to go to Graham and Guillaume.
Here's Caicedo. Excellent flick. Duda! Goal for Malaga! Pandemonium at La Rosaleda. It's the Portuguese international Duda who makes the first breakthrough here. Here's Ronaldo. And Marcelo finding a little bit of room again. Van der Vaart. It's clever. Oh, it's a fine goal by Rafael van der Vaart.
New points record for Real Madrid as well. 96 points and nothing to show for it. So many club records broken by any other league standards. That would have been a championship winning season, wouldn't it? And in some style. Malaga, of course, happy with staying up, more on the relegation issues later. But in terms of year one of this latest Galacticos project, coming second to a team of that ilk, should that be considered a success for Real Madrid?
It depends who you are, it depends on your perspective. If you're sitting as a Madrid fan who pays a season ticket and you're watching your idiot neighbours who haven't won a trophy since '96, Atletico winning one, second one tomorrow, Barcelona win the title, and then the Bernabeu hosts somebody else in the Champions League final, then no, it's brutal. If you look at any manager, any of these lads who played professional football, and you look at spending €270 million to build a team out of nothing, it was never going to have the simplest of starts to get unity, to get cohesion. We commented often on how partnerships weren't brewing early in the season. I think, therefore, they've done well. I think Pellegrini's done well, and there are key players just to move on. Van der Vaart's done brilliantly well. In an attacking sense, Marcelo's grown, Higuain's grown a little bit, Ronaldo's been outstanding. I admire him hugely. That little battle between Ronaldo and Messi is going to prove to be Watson, Nicholas, Fraser, Ali. We're privileged to be commentating on it.
Guillaume, had the Clásicos gone a different way, the title would potentially have gone a different way. We know Pellegrini feels a sense of injustice about the first. From the point of view of the whole country and all spectators of Spanish football, is justice seem to have been done, the way the title's gone?
Let's say that the victory of Real Madrid wouldn't have been celebrated as unanimously as the Barcelona one was. That's the first thing to say. And generally, the impression is that, as you've been saying all along, it's been a massive, massive season. It's all those records, but it's the fact that these two giants of football that really dislike each other, don't trust each other, but absolutely need each other, they've gone down to the wire, to the last game to actually win it. Barcelona have been 28 times out of 28 weeks out of 38 on top, so deserve to win it. They also drop only 2 points at the Camp Nou. They only lost 1 game. You would say that's enough to win it, but Real Madrid just made it very difficult.
Spent less money as well. I know a lot of people feel it's a victory for football in that respect, and are pleased that Real Madrid haven't won it, having splashed the cash. It wasn't a victory just for cold, hard cash. Question 1 then, 1-word answer from you all. Don't vote until you're asked to. Did the right team win the title? Yes or no? We felt it would go that way. And silence. We get used to this. OK, well, his has been the most sensational season. And not before time. It's been the one that's finally established Lionel Messi as the undisputed #1 in football. He has been phenomenal and rarely without his trademark boyish smile. Quite simply, the little man has been unstoppable.
I'm unstoppable, 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 unstoppable. You can talk all you want, but my skin is really thick. I'm the leader of the crowd, and my game is really slick. I'm unstoppable, 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 unstoppable.
En el caso de nosotros no fue así, ¿no? Nosotros queríamos seguir consiguiendo cosas, nos dolió.
In our case, we wanted to continue winning trophies, but were unfortunate to get knocked out of the Copa del Rey and then went out of the Champions League to a great side who played very well against us. We felt that we deserved to have reached the finals because we were playing well, but on the contrary, we were unable to do it and make ourselves and the fans happy.
Pero no, al contrario, nosotros queríamos seguir.
I think the whole team has had a good season, despite the fact we've been a little unfortunate at certain moments and haven't had some of the luck we had on those occasions this season before. And that meant we didn't win every trophy we were competing for. This year, it wasn't to be.
Y que nos hizo conseguir todos los títulos, ¿no? Este año no fue así, pero creo que la temporada.
But overall, I think we've had a very good season, competing with a Real Madrid side that has spent a lot of money, bringing in some very impressive players to lift the team.
Jugadores impresionantes, donde gastó muchísimo dinero para armar el equipo.
We knew we would have to be at our best to come out on top, that it would be a very difficult season. But across the season, the entire squad has performed well.
Muy difícil porque fue una liga muy complicada, así que durante todo el año creo que todo el plantel estuvo muy bien.
¿Listo? Well, tell us, are you ready for the World Cup? You've already mentioned luck and how you need to have luck. I guess the key thing you'll be focusing on is that 4 years ago you weren't fully fit, and this time, approaching the World Cup, you are. You're ready.
Sí, con mucha ganas de que llegue.
Yes, I'm really up for it and really want to show that this could be Argentina's time to win the World Cup. It's going to take a great deal of effort, but the national team will be made up of a group of players all on top form, and that's important.
Con la selección llegan en un buen momento y eso es importante para la selección argentina.
47 goals this season equals Ronaldo's club record. What more can we say about him, Jerry? Where do we start? I mean, he does everything that you'd ask of a player, and with that fantastic smile on his face.
He's obviously enjoying his football, Mark. It's not just the goals he scored, it's not the 47 goals he scored, it's the goals he creates.
Yes.
It's the effect he has on his teammates. You know, he's probably first to training every day. You know, he takes the knocks and the bruises and gets on with it. And we've seen players who try to kick him, but he just does what he does best. And, you know, you just watch any of the goals he scores, they're just fantastic ability. They're not all the same. He does beat players by dribbling, but he also chips goalkeepers and he sets it up for other teammates. But he's just amazing. These goals, I just can't explain it. I've never seen a player like him in my life before.
Hat-trick after hat-trick after hat-trick. Gibbo, you watch him play, as a non-player, he looks like the kind of guy you want to play football with, and you sense that the players around him feel that as well. They can't wait to celebrate with him when he does something incredible.
He epitomises everything that me as a fan and a lover of football wants to see in a player. They don't come along very often, and he's one of those. I mean, you want to see creative genius. You want to see individual talent that nobody else can do. If people pay to go and watch football, watch it on television, they want to see something that the rest of the players can't do. And he is that player. He's been superb. I mean, we still forget he's 22 years of age. There's room for improvement. Where, I don't know. But as long as he keeps enjoying football, he's at the right club. He's got the right coach working with him now. And in the last couple of years, last couple of seasons, his goal output has just been... We knew he was a wonderful player, but now he's an end product in every game.
Did we think he was going to be quite this good? We knew he was going to be special, but this good?
I think the answer is yes, because there's still room for change and improvement, and that's in confidence. Gim's probably the same. I've been interviewing him now since early 2004, and the absolute change in his confidence and his assuredness and his handling of all the burdens, and they are burdens that come with being the best. Look at how Ronaldo, the Brazilian, burned out, Ronaldinho, Adriano. it's not because they're all deeply flawed human beings. The pressure that you bear when everybody wants to talk to you all the time, when people want to kick you all the time, when you have to live with being named the best and yet not get complacent. You know, we've admired the footballing tendencies, but he's a pretty special young fella, and he's still very young. So there's an awful lot more to come, and the players love him not just because he's a genius, but they like being around him.
Yeah.
In private, he's pretty funny, pretty relaxed, good company.
Yeah, good guy. I wonder, we're going to talk about Raúl later, of course. We may have seen not the back of Raúl, but to the end of Raúl in La Liga. Will he be a similar figure for Barca over these years to come? Can you see him seeing out the whole of his career at one club?
Well, Raúl is much more than just a player, a captain. He's a leader. He's a Machiavellic leader as well, and he works behind the scenes in a way that I don't see Messi ever doing. Even though he could have learned from Ronaldinho and from others in the past, I don't think he will be like that. But it's key to what Jerry's been mentioning about the amateurish kind of attitude of him and everybody else in the side, but that makes this Barcelona so special, because it is about that. They love training, they love playing football, they hate losing. And two things that will describe you Messi, what he is like, it's Sevilla. They get knocked out of the cup, and he was sitting down on the floor crying. And Guardiola felt like he had let him down. He feels so badly about losing. He competes. He wants to be better than Cristiano Ronaldo, no doubt. And the other gesture, we've seen it, hugging his mum. He's got a family that's very close to him. Every time he celebrates a goal, goes like that to his grandmother, Celia, who died in '98. And she was the one who, when there were some kids playing, and she asked him to join them. He was like this. He joined them, and then he started doing a couple of special things. And it was her grandmother, who actually realised he was a good player, and it was her who pushed him in the first few years to become a footballer. But she's not here to see it, so he always remember her. So that's Messi.
Okay, as you know, great players gravitate towards one another. They always want to play with each other, as we said before. Certain players attract others to them, which is perhaps why Cesc Fabregas is so keen to return to Barcelona. Is it going to happen? When's it going to happen? What's going on?
The story is basically that Cesc Fabregas has been to London this morning, Tuesday morning, and talked to Arsene Wenger and said to him, I'm leaving. It's a conversation that had to take place, there was no doubt about that. And it had to be done now, because now the clubs have got 2 or 3 weeks before the World Cup to sort out a transfer fee. Now, the problem is Barcelona feel that because he had belonged to Barcelona before and was taken from Barcelona, they don't want to pay more than £30 million. That's the tops they want to pay. But I don't think Barcelona will accept, Arsenal will accept that. I do feel that Yaya Touré, who wants to leave now, may be part of the deal. But in any case, Cesc Fabregas had to do the most difficult of things. Come to London expressly to say to Arsene Wenger, to his professional father, I'm leaving.
Jerry, how much would you pay for him if you were Barcelona? What would you fork out to get him there?
Oh, you asked me what he's worth.
Yeah.
He's worth about 50 million.
You'd pay that?
Oh, he's worth that. I mean, if you look at the market value of players now, he must be worth at least 45, 50 goals a season. That makes him a special player. You're going to buy Frank Lampard on the market now. What's his...
The dynasty. Remember that he's still very, very young. He's very friendly with Messi, came through the youth ranks with him. His best friend is Piqué. You're going to build a team that will be loyal to Barcelona for the rest of their careers, potentially. Iniesta, Piqué, Messi, Cesc. That gives you a rock-solid solidity in terms of spirit. Just the things that Guillaume was talking about, this will to win, this common understanding of the passing, the movement, the training. I think that there's a premium in bringing him now. There's extra. And that takes the price up to what you've indicated, that it's an investment, not just for now, but maybe for 7 or 8 years.
I was going to say, where do they fit him in that midfield trio?
They know. They want him to play, to fight for a position principally in the 3 with Iniesta and Xavi on the right and the left. He's played principally in the middle for Arsenal, but their idea is that they'll replace Touré, keep Busquets, and that Cesc will fight for his place on left or right.
Remember,
which is a challenge for him.
Thierry Henry is going to the States, and he will announce it probably after the World Cup, unless he's forced to do it before that. So there's nobody at the moment who will play on the left-hand side of the attack. If you place Iniesta there, then you've got your positions in the midfield by Cesc and Xavi. Not ideal, because I think Cesc is another Xavi, a very modern version of Xavi. So it's going to be 2 years where those two, I can see how it's going to be sparks. Creative sparks, we expect, but certainly something there, because Xavi's feeling that he's 30, 29, 30, and 2 or 3 more years to go to the end of his career at Barcelona. In the meantime, you've got Cesc, who scores goals from the midfield, and nobody else in the midfield of Barcelona has been doing that apart from Keita. So I think it's going to be very entertaining to see how that relationship develops. But generally, what Pep Guardiola is thinking, 30 games for Messi, 30 games for Cesc, 30 games for Iniesta, 30 games for Xavi. Why not rotate them?
Tell me, knowing what we know about Wenger as a character and knowing what we know about Cesc Fabregas, well, as the person, what effect will that have had inside Arsenal today, do we suspect? Him going into the manager and saying, I want to go. What would have happened?
Don't forget that the similar situation happened last summer when there was the possibility of Cesc leaving, and Cesc said that depends on Arsene Wenger, and Arsene Wenger said no. But he said a no, thinking, I know in 12 months' time it's going to be the same kind of thing. Cesc basically said, just to finish, Cesc basically in the last couple of days he's been saying, I want to be in Barcelona. If they want me, I want to be in Barcelona. So he was preparing the road to it.
From the Arsenal point of view, it's part two of a discussion which started the day after Arsenal finished the league campaign. And Wenger and Cesc had a long discussion, and Wenger said, don't go. Don't leave my rebuilding now. I'm going to restaff the defence, restaff the central midfield. We're going places. And Cesc said to him, well, give me names. And the lack of those specific names tilted his decision-making process. He's reflected on it, as Guillaume said, in Spain for the last 7 to 10 days. And this is now a firm decision, and it's only about price.
You mentioned tilting. Time to move on. Lionel Messi may have been the season's phenomenon, but his teammate Xavi is Barca's fulcrum.
I know you've deceived me, now here's a surprise. I know that you have, 'cause there's magic in my eyes. I can see for miles and miles and miles and miles and miles. Oh yeah.
Can't eat with my mouth. Well, Jerry's serving up the grub today. What you got, Jerry?
Muy bien. It's very good. We got aceitunas, jamón serrano. We got champagne. We got a selection.
So get the food, crack open the bubbly, but save it for parts 2 and 3, or else we'll never complete the programme. Question number 2, then, gents. Messi, phenomenal. Xavi, the fulcrum. Is Xavi more important to Barcelona than Messi?
I would say he is as important. So I would say.
See how difficult it is to get that one-word answer. Well, this is the way to beat it. No. Yes, you're the only one who's gone yes. Yeah. Why do you say that?
Because I think he is the creator, and when he's not playing, I notice that there's a lack of creativity in the middle of the park. In terms of passing, I think Xavi is the best passer of a football in Spain, and has been for quite a long time. And that's why I think it's a very good partnership with. If Cesc Fabregas goes this summer, as Graham thinks he's going to go, then the goals that Cesc is going to score and the passing ability, look at the quality of the passing. I mean, tell me another midfield player, not just in Spain but in the world, that can produce that type of a pass for Messi to score those sort of goals.
Declining asset, though. 2 goals from midfield, 3 between him and Iniesta, 30. Brilliant player, my second best player in the world over the last 12 months, ahead of Cristiano Ronaldo. But a declining asset in terms of Messi being 23, Messi being the team leader. A brilliant footballer, but more important right now, I'm not sure.
I've heard people who we very much respect refer to him as arguably the best midfielder in that particular role of all time.
I think he's going to be Spain's best player ever.
Can I ask you why you said...
just go back and say I said as important, not more important. As important.
Hey, listen, agree with him because he's in control of the booze. Just agree with everything.
It's always good to put an Irishman.
Let me just ask you, why did you say... No, is that because you feel that it's easier to find a replacement for Xavi, like of a Fabregas, than it is to a Messi?
To find a replacement for 47 goals.
Yeah.
That is the... I mean, I love Xavi. I think he is the best midfield player in the world. A lot of Messi's goals are linked towards Xavi, whether it's the final pass to Xavi or the pass that creates the opening for someone to play it to Messi. But, you know, Messi, with Xavi, you see a midfield player who's in complete control of the game, has 100 passes a match, 90 probably are accurate, and he's brilliant. Xavi's brilliant.
I think Pep Guardiola will probably, he's talking about Messi as one of the best in the world and realises that Xavi is important to him. But when he had to change things, it was about Messi, making Messi better, which, by the way, made Ibrahimovic worse. It was after the Sheriff game and the Stuttgart, he wasn't happy, and he goes, what's the word? Adelanta. He just goes beyond the problems. He sees the problems and then he reacts to it before they even appear. It happened with the toe, there was no good feeling. And then after Sheriff and after Stuttgart, basically he thought something has to change. And then he brought Messi to the centre and then used probably 4 forwards, and Ibrahimovic disappeared. But Messi became what we saw at the end of the season, the best player in the world.
Yeah, 100 million spent on Chigrinsky and Ibrahimovic combined. I mean, talk more about Chigrinsky. Yeah, you know what's coming. We'll talk more about that predictable. We'll talk more about Chigrinsky later. The Ibrahimovic project, the money, the job he was supposed to do, the project, success or failure? Success? You think it's a success?
Yeah, I mean, I'll justify it if you want. I mean, it's not. I said at the start of the season, I was saying Villa, not Ibrahimovic. If you look at it right now, he'll have his fingerprints on something like 33, 34 goals in terms of assists and goals. 8 of the 15 goals he scored in the league opened the score. If you're Barcelona and you're 1-0 up, there's about a 95% chance you're going to go on and win that game. The goal against the Clásico, you said it yourself, the Clásicos won the league. He scored the winning goal in the first game. Against Stuttgart, when they were nearly out, he pitched up.
Second most expensive player in the history of world football.
If you look at Thierry Henry's first season, he scored less and gave less. For me, an acceptable success, but it's now about what he does next. Thierry Henry, the next season, went on to be a team leader, score lots of goals, and they won everything. It's about Zlatan to look at himself and say, I did okay, but that's not good enough.
So Barcelona's not looking to get rid of him this summer, is that what you're saying?
They are, and that's the problem.
So, how can you say he's been a success?
Success?
Exactly.
That means that Barcelona feel that if anybody can take him, now they with David Villa into the side, will be announced on or presented to the media on Friday, then basically that means that they don't need him. So if they can get some money from him, that'd be great. And probably means as well that they feel he has not adapted to the team and that he's unhappy.
Okay, second most expensive player in the world. I haven't got a panel. The heaviest ever price tag hung around a player's neck is, of course, around Ronaldo's. Many a lesser player would have buckled under the weight of expectation, but not CR9, who started the season as the ultimate Galactico and ended it as Real's go-to man. Wonderful first season, eclipsed by Messi, but then who wouldn't be? It's been a good first season, hasn't it?
He's been a talisman. He's held that team from goals behind where they've been trailing, dodgy situations where they've been desperate to get the winning goal, and it's always been him that's come up trumps. I mean, Gonzalo Higuain has scored a lot of goals as well, but it's Ronaldo. He just thrives on being the star player, being at a club like Real Madrid, which is one of the biggest clubs in world football. He's gone there right from the very first game. It was only a few minutes before he opened his scoring, and he's led that team. He's been absolutely phenomenal this season.
People talk about the pretty face, Jerry, don't they? Talk about the shirt sales, but to go there and over the course of a season become the go-to man, the talisman in that environment is an incredible.
He has been brilliant. I have to say, if it hadn't been for Ronaldo this season, Barcelona would have won the league by about 12 or 14 points. And Gibbo's right, he scored really important goals. And the other thing that he's done, which has impressed me this season, he's been a real team player. He's worked hard for the side. You see him tracking back, you see him, and his variation of goals as well. He's scoring goals with his head, he's putting in crosses, he's taking free kicks. He's doing it all. He is Real Madrid Football Club at the moment, but unfortunately, they are not as advanced as a team as Barcelona. I feel that so many players have come in this year, 6, 7 players have come in this year, and haven't knitted in as quickly as Barcelona players have.
It's part of our job as well to lift the lid and talk about behind the scenes and what Cristiano Ronaldo has done, that particularly those who doubt him because he's a pretty boy and think he might just be somebody who looks good and plays for show, is that every day, work ethic, hard. He's fun to be around. this group of players have been inspired by him. In previous seasons, we've seen Real Madrid, when they think the title's gone, lose 5, 6, 7 games in a row at the end of the season. Players who are nearly as good as him, that don't have the same attitude as him. He's taught people around him about professionalism.
The problem is, he dictates the way the team plays. So, Pellegrini would have liked to play a different way. He cannot do so, but he's laid the foundations for the next manager, Jose Mourinho, to play the only way you can play with Cristiano Ronaldo, which is counter-attacking football. So I think even Jose Mourinho will have the same doubts from the fans within the first 2 or 3 months, because with Ronaldo, with his pace, with the way he plays, with extraordinary that he is, you can only play one way.
OK, we're going to talk more about what comes next in the next part. What is next for Spain's Big Two? Who's in, who's out, and who's shaking about their future? We're about to find out. And come on, Jerry, for God's sake, open that button. To join us in La Liga next season, we hear from some of the biggest names in football in the course of the next few minutes, including David Villa and Emilio Butragueño. Stay with us. We're about to open the bubbly. So, despite last summer's €270 million investment, Real Madrid are...
Right on cue.
Should we do that?
Would you believe it? Unbelievable. Should we start that again? So, despite last summer's €270 million investment, Real Madrid are once again runners-up to their arch-rivals Barcelona. Changes at the Bernabeu, therefore, are inevitable. A board meeting is scheduled for 4 p.m. on Wednesday, when it's expected the official decision to relieve Manuel Pellegrini of his role as coach will be taken. Give us a drop of that, mate. I needed to calm your nerves. In a moment, we'll discuss who's coming in as coach and which players are set to arrive in the capital. But first, here's Real's Emilio Butragueño. Unbelievable.
We would like to gain 96 points next season, because it's a huge amount of points. So the problem that Barcelona has done an outstanding season, and then their performance has been extraordinary. So, well, anyway, next season we will come back and we'll try, of course, to do our best again and try several titles, no? Because that is our, let's say, obligation. No, we are Real Madrid, we try to win everything we participate in. I know our sport management department has been working very hard over the last months, devising the strategy for next season. And I am sure that they are going to strengthen the squad, therefore we will be much more competitive next season.
HRH, His Royal Highness. We've been doing it for weeks, haven't we? Who's about to take over from Manuel Pellegrini? We think he's going tomorrow, don't we, Guillaume? Confirmation of that? It will be official tomorrow?
It will be official that there is a financial package of €4 million for him to accept, which I presume he will, of course. He's been saying goodbye. Say again?
You'd take €4 million to go, wouldn't you?
It's not bad, isn't it? It would pay for a couple of my houses. But it was just predictable. He was saying goodbye in the last 2 press conferences. And, of course, the agreement with Mourinho is all but done.
Was it inevitable? Was it always going to be one season for him? Because he was, what, 4th, 5th choice?
No, inevitable, no. The conditions weren't good. I mean, if you're brought in and you're not allowed... For example, a tiny detail, but again, the professional football guys will tell you how important it is. He said, buy me a left-back. I want a left-back. Buy me Clichy, buy me Evra. And didn't have a voice. Yeah. Didn't have a voice in any of those who came in. What the pre-season was like. During the season, he needs to be remembered as being fundamentally important to the team. He's given them pride. They probably totted up more points than any of us expected, apart from me, given that I bet them to be champions. Pound for pound, that makes my bet the most intelligent. I think as well, the way in which he's handled Raul will do long-term good for the club. Guillaume said as well, he's restructured the way of playing. Yeah. So inevitable that he had to go, no, inevitable that he'd be out, but he joins a list of, what, 7 or 8 coaches who've won the title and then been out after 1 season. He didn't win anything, so that made it inevitable. And 2-3 weeks ago, we were saying here, it's far down the line with Jose Mourinho. And Pellegrini knew before we did.
Isn't it always the way when it comes to coaching that the guy does the hard yards, who clears the deck, gets no reward and gets turfed out?
He's
and
done
someone
well.
else walks in and does it and takes over and wins the trophies?
Under normal circumstances, Mark, he's done a really good job. He's a good coach. He's got 96 points on the table, which would have won any league. So I feel he's done really, really well. And he's been unfortunate. 270 million spent on the players. Didn't really have a system. I mean, still don't know where he was going to play Kaká. And as you said, Graham, you know, he wanted a left back, and he's got Marcelo to play at left back. It's been difficult for him, but I think he's done the best of what he had available.
Should he stay? Should he?
Yes, I'm adamant that he should stay.
Yeah.
I think he deserves a second season. He knows the stipulations for next season. But I'm really adamant that he should have got a second season.
I haven't moved away because of your cologne, but mind you, what is it? What is it? Where'd you get it? Right, I'm over here. A second, because there's a couple of late additions potentially to challenge Mr. Mourinho for the HRH. Mourinho pushing forward, Pellegrini
He's
gone. Been suggested perhaps.
Well, now you're talking.
late contender
That's
here.
his assistant.
Yeah.
Talks a good game. And this one, maybe. I don't know, Graham. Well, as soon as you back them, maybe just about there.
Never mind that.
You never know. Are we all
treble.
convinced that this is the one? This is the one. This is the one, is it?
What's happened here is that Florentino Perez, who is the leader of this project, by the way, in brackets, a project that in the last 4 years that he's been at the reins, they have won nothing. Only an European Super Cup, Spanish Super Cup with Queiroz. So Florentino Perez decided early in the season when he said, I want Robben and I want Snyder out, and Pellegrini didn't back him and actually talked to the players and said, I want you to stay, and said publicly, I'd like them to stay. From that moment on, all that Florentino has to say about Pellegrini is, Valdano chose him. And the interesting thing is that the meeting on Wednesday, Valdano will get up and say to everybody, all the board, actually, I like Pellegrini to stay, and will try to give the reasons, but Florentino's convinced that he wants a leader, and that's a change of the project because he always wanted managers with not much personality that he could mould. This is a complete revamp of his project.
There's two threats to Mourinho completing what is a verbal agreement. One, there is a consortium trying to buy Liverpool Football Club that I've been talking to him, and if they succeed, they'll remove Rafa Benitez. If they clear the debt enough from a budget, he would be tempted. Secondly, Mourinho will put very, very stringent conditions on his power, his voice. That's why we were talking about Pellegrini not being able to even say, I need a left back. Mourinho won't stand for any of that. It might come a stage where what he asks for is too much. Other than that, he'll be the coach.
I want to ask you, we're so short of time, hence the reason we've got the paddles for you. I mean, everything taken into account, Mourinho for Pellegrini, given everything, good swap, yes or no? You wouldn't go, you'd stay where you are. Okay, cool, great. Targets then for Real Madrid. Who are they after?
They need a left back. They need a left winger or a player that can do both jobs, and they need a centre midfield player. Florentino likes strikers, but they may give a chance to Benzema. Higuaín seems like he's going to stay. So on the left-hand side of the defence, maybe Vargas, maybe Sissoko. Some people are talking about Ashley Cole, but that seems to me the interest coming from Ashley to Real Madrid, and at the moment not from Real Madrid to Ashley, but Lampard is the one that's interesting though.
Yeah.
Because I think Di Maria will fill that gap next to Kaká on the left-hand side, but in the centre midfield they want a Cesc. They don't have a Cesc. And this Real Madrid, as we were saying earlier, shouldn't play like Barcelona, should play differently, more direct. Why not Lampard? And I feel that Jose Mourinho has spoken to Lampard and has told him, would you like to come? And Lampard said, we'll see how things go then, and see if Real Madrid will actually put the money for it. If Real Madrid go for Lampard, I've got the impression Lampard would say, yes, I'm coming.
OK, Barcelona targets, we'll talk about those in just a moment. One of them, he is a Valencia player, just about still. Here he is, David Villa.
I'm very pleased with the way the season's gone and for what we've achieved, and to have played an important role in securing a third-place finish for Valencia.
It's your own movement that conditions how many goals you scored, but I guess that playing alongside great footballers like Banega, Pablo and Mata this season has helped, and has been a lot of fun too.
Yes, clearly. Every striker loves having technically gifted players playing behind him who can see the final ball. And in our case, with the guys you just mentioned, it's a good reason to be cheerful.
Come on then, name us David Villa's best goal of the season.
Best goal. I don't know which one to tell you. The truth is I like every goal. Maybe the lob from outside the area against Getafe was the most attractive, but for me, they're all important.
Now you go into the World Cup, you're full of confidence, you've got the experience of winning Euro 2008 behind you, but I guess you've taken a lot of lessons from the experience of the Confederations Cups in South Africa last summer. Is that right?
Yes, we have a lot more experience, and the group is more or less practically the same players as 2008, but with savvy, more experience, more know-how, and we hope to do the same as we did in the Euros.
OK, let's have a look at the list of Barcelona targets. Where are their priorities?
They're definitely going to get Cesc, and they're definitely going to get David Villa. That's two of them. And after that, let's see what the new chairman would say, because although John Oliver, the managing director, said there are 3 operations going on, basically, I think he meant one leaving, be it Yaya Touré or Henry. So I think once you've got those 2 filled in, there's not much more that you can add to Barcelona.
They're going to, I mean, as I mentioned before, that if they manage to push out Touré, poor old Touré, who's reacted brilliantly to the fact that he knows Pep's against him and also very much against his Ukrainian agent, he's reacted with a sterling last half of the season. So they will replace him. They love Sergio Busquets, but they will buy what they call a pivote, that central midfielder, to push Busquets on. They'll stick with Pinto as the second goalkeeper. And my opinion is that we may well see one of the 2 fullback positions given extra cover.
What should their priorities be, Barcelona, in the summer?
I think they've got the right men there that they're going after, but I think they've a problem still at centre-half.
Yeah.
I know they spent a lot of money on Chigrinsky.
Yeah.
I think Rafael Marquez is not getting any quicker either. I wouldn't have a lot of confidence. Milito has done well for them in the last 6 months. He's come back into the frame. I thought Milito should have been in the Argentinian squad. But you've got Puyol, you've got Milito, and you've got Piqué. There's only 3 centre-halves there that I could really rely on. I think they should look for another centre-half as well.
You said that they've got Bottier, who's been on loan at
Yes.
Sporting this year, and all these young players that come through the Cantera have been midfielders or attackers, and it'd be quite useful if they could produce one or 2 defenders along the way as well.
Bottier may end up going as part of that deal to David Villa to Valencia. Bottier could be one of the deals because Valencia quite fancy Bottier as a centre-half.
That is, by the way, if 3 English sides don't end up buying Bottier.
Yeah. Well, he's a good player. He is a quality player, and he wants to play regular football. He's been on loan to Sporting de Gijón for the last season. I know Manuel Preciado, the old manager there, who's a friend of mine, wants to keep him, but as needs must be, I think he's going to end up as part of the transfer deal, or he'll go somewhere where he's going to play regular first-team football.
Always a busy summer, World Cup summer, isn't it? Squad, of course, we know all about England squad, don't we? Who's going? Here's the details of the Spanish provisional 30-man squad. We'll run you through it as we talk here. What are the chances, Jerry, of them doing it? One of the favourites. That's going to weigh heavily on their shoulders. They came through it in the Euros, didn't they? Do you see them replicating that in South Africa?
They have the players, they have the squad. I think the top 3 squads for me, certainly Spain, Brazil and Argentina, all the quality. You look at the quality in midfield there. There's goal-scoring midfield players as well. I just think with Xavi, and Navas has had a great season. I have to mention Navas. He's been brilliant this season. And the forward line, all goal scorers everywhere. I think Torres, fully fit Torres, David Villa, those front 2 will skirt any defence.
Pedro's in there. You taking the World Cup?
No, definitely, yeah. To be as successful as he has been with Barca this year, he has to. He has to go.
Yeah, I'd say a couple of other strikers that have been mentioned, forwards for possible sort of managers for that as well, our experts. Certain Mr. Armstrong. Oh, look at that in his pomp. Jerry.
You used to have hair.
Jerry.
I did have a moustache as well. Let's go back a few
Ron
years.
Saunders didn't do any favours at the backies, but my word, he's still... And look at this one, boys. Just for the Barnet.
3 years ago.
Just for the Barnet.
That roll.
Just for the Barnet.
Roll.
Wonderful stuff.
A young Bob Hoskins.
Beautiful.
Shouldn't you explain who that is, Mark?
Good point. It is Maradona, isn't it?
Definitely.
That's what he tells us. He tells us he was that good anyway, didn't you, Gibber, huh? OK, next we concentrate on the teams heading into Europe and those heading out of La Liga. Champions League and the Europa League. Details on the way. Sevilla into the top 4, Getafe into the top 6, of course. And we've got the details on that relegation 5-way final day fight for survival. Jerry, don't you dare. Now, just like the title race, the fight for fourth, that final Champions League qualification place came down to the last day, with Sevilla in fourth and a point ahead of Mallorca, who simply had to beat Almeria to guarantee their passage to next year's European Cup. The Islanders had
Start again.
I'm worried to death you're going to hit me with a call. The Islanders just had to win because they had the head-to-head superiority over... No, that's not right. The Sevilla had to win because they had the head-to-head superiority. It's your fault. Over Mallorca. So if they won, they're in. If Mallorca won, they had to win to get in. I'll explain all in a moment. Watch the videotape.
Mallorca knew they had to beat Espanyol to have any chance of making it into the Champions League. And helped by home advantage, they did their bit. Victor's late run into the box resulted in him getting his fourth of the season. And the Islanders effectively confirmed their 15th home victory when Mario Suarez doubled their lead. Things were looking good for Manzano and his team. Mallorca's arch-rivals, 4th, Sevilla, faced an Andalusian derby at Almeria, knowing they had head-to-head advantage over the Islanders, but it only took them a quarter of an hour to find a breakthrough from Freddy Canute. But derbies are notoriously unpredictable, and Almeria equalised when Ortiz picked out the unmarked Soriano on the stroke of half-time. However, early in the second half, Sevilla were back on track for 4th when Chico scored an own goal to make it 2-1, as once again Jesus Navas proved just how effective he can be creating chances for his teammates. But one of those colleagues, Negredo, was sent off by referee Rubinho Perez for protesting too much. And the significance of his dismissal wasn't lost on Negredo, because Sevilla's hopes of a Champions League place significantly diminished because, with 12 minutes remaining, Ortiz scored a screamer to make it 2-2. And that was a scoreline which meant that Mallorca were in 4th place. And with their match already finished, the players watched on nervously as the extra time was being played out. And then in the 3rd minute of injury time, Navas set up teenage substitute Rodri, who in only his 2nd top-flight game got Sevilla's winner, much to the delight of the travelling supporters. Heartbreak for Manzano's Mallorca, who kept the champagne in the bottle. While Antonio Alvarez's Sevilla will be playing Champions League football next season.
The most staggering of finishes, it really was. I mean, quality because it's in the international squad at junior level, but come on, with the paddles, admit to it, when we... who was shouting, throw on Fabiano when he threw on Rodri? Really? Because he wasn't quite fit.
He wasn't fit.
Yeah.
Now, no idea he was going to score, but Rodri's aggression and power has been notable, and I think that, you know, he felt the cause. He came on fully confident. Didn't know that was going to happen, but boy, we celebrate it when he did. It's good, Sevilla. I don't mean to be harmful to Mallorca, but for all of us, we believe in the power of La Liga. We hope that they go on and do themselves justice, do the league justice in the Champions League. And Mallorca have got so many problems that I know the money would have benefited them, but they wouldn't have been an adequate emissary for Spanish football in the Champions League. And Sevilla, well, it's as simple as that for me.
Pochettino said that Manzano was manager of the season. Manzano said that regardless of what happens in the final day, whether we qualify for the Champions League or not, this in history will be viewed as a successful year. He's spot on. Manager of the year for you?
I give him my stats as the manager of the year because he had so little to work with. He's performed miracles for 5 seasons with Mallorca. He's gone now, but it would have been nice for them to finish 4th to qualify for Champions League. And I take Graham's point because, you know, they wouldn't have done justice. There's a lot of players going to be leaving the club in the summer. I think Adariz is top of the tree, but they'll have to rebuild. They'll have to get a new manager. They'll have to get a lot of new players, and they'll be on a budget. And they probably won't. If they had went to the Champions League, they wouldn't have done justice. I agree with you, Graham.
And then we'll see what happens with him, of course, because the rumour has been for at least 6 months that he's agreed to join Sevilla, and Antonio Alvarez won't stay as the Sevilla manager, even though Del Nido keeps saying that he wants him to be his Alex Ferguson. I don't know what he really means with that. But I'll tell you what my manager of the season is, Mitchell. Mitchell, with Getafe, he had 5 games to actually avoid
in a moment. You've been drinking too much of his pop.
What?
Keep your powder dry. You've been drinking too much of the pop.
Okay. Anyway, no, because Getafe was 5 games away from being relegated last season. He saved them, and all of a sudden he's taking them to a European place. I mean, how amazing is that?
Okay. Let's find out then if Getafe made it into the Europa League. You've kind of blown it for me, haven't you? Here's how their final day panned out.
Villarreal's whole season was pretty well encapsulated in this one match at Zaragoza. Quite simply, they got off to a dreadful start and couldn't recover. Elisu's 30-yard screamer on 3 minutes. And then 2 in quick succession either side of the half hour. Colunga coolly stroking home the second, his 4th in 5 games. Only Atletico Madrid in the top half have conceded more goals than Villarreal. And Zaragoza's 3rd from Pulido exposed the defensive uncertainties once again. But Villarreal still play some great stuff going forward. And Ibagath's through ball for Cazorla to cut the deficit was absolutely exquisite. Cazorla and Rossi completed the comeback after the break, but with Getafe cruising to victory at the Vicente Calderón, even a win would not have left Villarreal in the Europa League. But for the 6th consecutive season, they'd finished inside the top 7, and that's not a bad achievement.
Atletico's celebrations after winning the Europa League went flat after Getafe held their nerve in this capital city derby to join them in the Europa League next season. And they stylishly took the lead through Soldado, who's finished their campaign with a real flourish, despite not being picked for the provisional Spanish World Cup squad. Atletico, with perhaps an eye on a Copa del Rey final, showed how careless they can be defensively. Soldado punished Dominguez's error for his 16th goal in 25 league appearances this term, after good work from Pedro Leon. And Michel's team rubber-stamped 6th place when former QPR loanee Parejo kept calm to round off the scoring on what has been a memorable season for both clubs.
Yeah, a fabulous turnaround for Villarreal with such an awful start to the season, change of manager. So congratulations for them to get into 7th, which is an incredible achievement. But as Guillaume said before, what an achievement for Michel. Picked them up at the end of last year, 5 games to keep them safe, did on the final day, elevates them to 6th, puts them into Europe. This is the team that aren't even really traditionally the 3rd team in Madrid, and they're playing European football next year. Congratulations to him. And in the right style, I guess that's the overriding thing, isn't it? Who would guess that, just the 3 of you, that Guillaume's guess for the season, for manager of the season, would be Michel?
No. I wouldn't have a clue.
Just a quick yes or no, given what we know. Yeah, perhaps. We got there just about. It's the style, isn't it? Success, but with style. What a potent combination. Should they put... There is the style, as the producer just reminds us of the dog and the sofas that we've grown to love. And the style of football. Naughty boy, Andrew. And the style of football that we adore watching. A year on the contract that he will see out, another. Wouldn't you put him under a long-term contract?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's not only the success they've had. What surprised me this year, he salvaged them last year, then he kept them up.
Yeah.
But this year, it's a whole new brand of football with creative, individual players built into this system. Not unlike Barcelona, they play out the back. The goalkeeper very rarely kicks the ball out and play everything through midfield. It's got exciting attacking players. And I did wonder as the season progressed when we were doing this board whether he was an outsider for the Real Madrid job. Guardiola come through the ranks at Barcelona, been a big player at Barcelona. Same with Michel at Real Madrid. But it doesn't appear that he's ever been really taken seriously.
I thought we had the face. We did have the face. He seems to have disappeared. Jerry, what he's doing there is quite something,
yeah,
isn't it?
he will be a contender, I think, in years to come. And his style of football epitomises what Real Madrid's all about. When I played against him at Real Madrid, he was a stylish footballer. He liked to get it down and pass it, scored spectacular goals. And I think you can see his brand of football on the Getafe side. And they've had success. So he has to be a candidate, certainly for me, in the future, as a future Real Madrid player, manager.
OK, well, talking of teams and getting into Europe, those obviously have now. Teams that should have done, looking at the first half of the season, the first few weeks, Athletic and Depor, of course, who met at the weekend. This was their last hurrah of the season. What a thoroughly disappointing end to it. Athletic won 2-0. Ike Munain became Bilbao's youngest ever player back in July. Scored first, of course. Another player who made his mark this season, undoubtedly, Javi Martinez. He got the second. What's gone wrong for these two sides, fellas? Athletic were in the top 6 until week 33, but won just one of the last 7 games to finish 8th. Depor in the top 4 until almost halfway through, but ended up 10th after losing 9 of the last 12 games. Where did it go wrong?
2 different stories. Depor got too many injuries to challenge for anything, and once they got their target, which was not to get relegated, remember this is a team that's running on empty without hardly any money, basically target met, and that was it. They relaxed. And the case of Athletic Bilbao, they really went for it. They tried. They started the season very early, and they used more players than ever, and they brought through the lower ranks quality players as well. We just see the goal of Muniain. We see Javi Martinez, who may go to Real Madrid. He's one of the players they're looking for that centre midfield position. So they are done much better than they expected, and that shouldn't be the normal position. They should actually be fighting for 10th or so. So great, well done for them. It's just how it should be described.
I know you want to try and squeeze Javi Martinez into your team of the season. We name that later. We'll get it in, even if we have to name 12, don't worry. To relegation and that 5-way final day fight for survival. 3 from Valladolid, Racing, Malaga, Tenerife and Xerez would drop out of the league. And at kick-off, 4 of the teams were level on points and split based on a mini-league. We've already seen Valladolid's defeat at Barca and Malaga hold rail to a draw. Now for the rest of the strugglers, starting with Xerez, who had to win to stand any chance of avoiding the drop.
Xerez's first season in the top flight has ended in relegation, but with 23 points from their final 15 matches, they've shown terrific character. And they had to come from behind here as well, after Daddy fired Osasuna in front. Antonito gave them some hope, but those who wrote off Xerez before a ball was kicked were ultimately proved correct. And even a win here would not have been enough to save them. But to take it to the final game was a brave effort.
After 10 seasons at the Mestalla, Ruben Barajas said goodbye to Valencia, whose victory relegated Tenerife. And it was Alexis who got the only goal of the game in injury time to end the Islanders' stay in the top flight.
Of the 5 sides in the relegation argument before the weekend, Racing looked to have the most straightforward task. And goals from Mohamed Cheite, either side of half-time, meant they accomplished the task without too much anxiety. But it was just a 4th home win of the campaign. And this was a mediocre season all round for Racing Santander.
Table looks like this then, at the end of the season. It's Xerez, Tenerife and Valladolid that will play their football in the Segunda next season. Xerez just to be in with a shout on the final day of staying up is a fantastic achievement. Well done to Néstor Gorosito for that. Malaga, Racing survive on the final day. Confirmation that Getafe and Mallorca will play Europa League football next year. Sevilla will try and get into the Champions League. They haven't qualified, of course. They face that awkward, potentially very awkward route into the Champions League proper. If they get there, they will join Valencia, Real and our champions, Barcelona. Néstor Gorosito did a sensational job. We could talk about that all night. I mean, the way he got them to score goals when they couldn't score goals. You remember the board, obviously. Yeah. 38 goals they finished the season with. At one point, they were on course to be the lowest scoring side across the whole of the continent. I mean, he's not going to be the manager of the season. We know who yours is, but my word, he's a candidate potentially for
If he had been at the start of the season, I tell you what, they could have actually stayed up. They played fantastic football in the second half of the season with him. Did themselves proud when they looked down and out. I have to say they gave us real thrills and spills, Mark, because you know they performed admirably, but it just wasn't enough. And as I say, he should have been at the start of the season, and maybe they would have stayed up.
And the really sad news for Xerez fans, Jerry, at the end of the game was he let rip. He said, "I won't be here unless there are massive changes in the club. I won't work for the sporting director again. Nobody knows what I've had to put up with." So that only augments how well he's done, because he thinks that the conditions he's been working are completely unsupportable. So unless he change, he'll be off.
Oh, he's trying to cash in on a little bit of a little success story.
He probably earned it. Fair point. Fair point, but he earned
most
it.
importantly, he outranks Gibbo.
I was going to say it's haircut of the season. Haircut bonnet of the season, Gorosito.
Hey, you've been outranked there. Sorry. There's only so much we can do. There's only so much we can do. No prize this week. So Lancashire is just for fun. But before we pose our final question of the season, let's get the answer to last week's. How many penalties has Cristiano Ronaldo scored in La Liga this season? This was relevant to last week, of course. The answer was 4, and the winner was Lorraine Johnson from Manchester. OK, now the La Inquisition question is how many points does Dmytro Chigrinsky score in Scrabble? Not easy. We have a Scrabble board here. And the tiles, boys, for you. If you can spell it, you might be able to work it out for us. You've got the break to try and work it out. Problem is, there's not enough Y's in Scrabble. But have a go anyway, Gibber.
Leave it with me.
There it is. OK, after the break, we look ahead to Wednesday night's Copper final. And, you can get it in, we name our team of the season, including Javi Martinez, somewhere. Also, the goals of the season coming up right now. Is it an I or is it an O?
It's not Gibber. Could be Gibby Gibber.
Yeah. I tell you what, you've done well there to spell it. A couple of Y's. Not bad. 42.
3 goals.
42 points. 42 points. What about the triple letter score?
It would matter if he could play. Sorry, Dimitri.
I tell you what, I get worth more points than I'll get money for him at the end of the season. They try and sell him. OK. Time to name the team of the season. Dmytro Chigrinsky won't be in it, I don't think. There it is. We have a La Liga 11 and a lamentable 11 to name. And we know who's first on that side. We've just been talking about him. Dmytro Chigrinsky. There he goes. I've DC'd him because I can't spell him either. Jerry, give us a name. La Liga 11. Bearing in mind that we start with him.
Is he sure? Are you sure he's in the side?
Squeezed him in.
All right. Well, I'll go with Maxwell at left back.
OK. Why?
Difficult position. I think he's come in and done a fantastic job. He gets forward. He's a very good attacking full-back, probably more of a left-sided midfield player, but he's a better defender than the likes of Marcelo, who would be a candidate as well. I just think he's had a great season with Barcelona. Abidal would have been a lot of people's choices, but he's not been fit for most of the season, so I went with Maxwell. OK, I'm going to throw Ronaldo in as well. Chuck us one. Gibbo, who do you fancy? Who else should be in there?
PK, Gerard PK.
OK. Again?
For me now, I think he's the best central defender in the world.
Really?
On the ball, his defending is excellent, great pace, great in the air. Has every attribute you need to be a world-class central defender. A massive part of the success of Barcelona in the last 2 seasons.
Another defender to go in?
Puyol, for instance, is got to be next to Piqué. They work very well together. You put Piqué on the right and Puyol on the left. And basically, they just work well together. He's a captain, he's the leader. But I do feel that in that position, there are other players you could have put in as well. And not many famous players, like Chico, for instance, of Almeria, another good story of a team that was destined to go down, and thanks to the defensive work they put in and the arrival of Lillo, they just stayed in.
Consensus, and I know you agree with it, it's Dani Alves to complete the four at the back. Graham, throw a name in.
Give me Victor Valdez, please. For the number of times he's made one-on-one saves. Barcelona's defending is better this season.
Yeah.
They've scored fewer goals, and the fact that they've been so secure at the back has often been him. He rises to the occasion. He's a real character because he's lost all of his immaturity, his hot-headedness.
Should he start in the World Cup?
He's a team leader. I would take him. I would take him. I would
sure.
absolutely take him.
Jerry, chuck one in.
Higuain, Gonzalo Higuain.
Okay. In here.
Yeah, centre forward, down the middle. Mobile.
I'm telling him to just run in that area there, just slightly off centre.
Well, he's mobile.
Let's not get too.
And he scores goals, Mark.
Okay, boss.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Because of the goals and performance.
His goals and mobility, I think he's done well again. He had an awful game against Lyon when he could have scored maybe 2 or 3 goals, but he perseveres. He's got great attitude in terms of getting forward, and he's there to miss chances. But he got 27 league goals and 2 other goals. So he's 29 goals in total, and that's probably why I put him in. He's one of the top goal scorers in the league.
Ronaldo should be there, obviously. Can I throw it in? Makes sense. We're all going to go there, aren't we? Who goes alongside him?
Xabi Alonso.
Yeah.
How about him? Again, I may have given a vote to maybe Pedro Lopez of Getafe, but in any case, Xabi Alonso has run more than ever in his life. He's becoming a completely different footballer than he was at Liverpool. I think worse because they make him run more. But if he's got next to him maybe Lassana Diarra or maybe Javi Martinez or maybe Lampard next year, he will just get better.
One more.
Let's go for the revelation, Pedro Rodriguez. Yes. None of us would have predicted that he'd be as clinical. We knew he's fast. We knew that Pep believed in him, because remember, he rescued him when the coaches at the Camp Nou were going to push him out on loan. But he's become a big-time player, a clinical finisher, somebody that connects really well with Messi. He only had one bad game, that was at home to Inter Milan. Other than that, he's probably the most exciting young player of the last 4 or 5 seasons.
Handwriting's terrible.
It says
Gibson. And as we say,
not funny. I don't know what lamentable means.
12th man, Javi Martinez, who's had a fantastic season, hasn't he? See? We look after you, don't we? Cheers. Well, didn't make out number 7 of the year, but should he leave Spain over the summer, you pity the poor fella that has to fill Real's number 7 shirt at Real, don't you? The great man has completed his 16th season at the Bernabeu, and in every single one, he's given us plenty to be grateful for. Number 7, Raul. Well, you'll all get a game, if nothing else, this summer, won't you? Benzema to go on there as well, as you just said, for sure. Raul, what can we say? Virtually every record broke him. If he goes, we will miss him, won't we?
You know, he had made his mind up. He was going to leave. And there were contacts in England, in the States, Qatar, all that. And he was listening to all of it. He's had a meeting with Valdano on Tuesday, and there was a different reaction to what Valdano expected, I've got the impression, because Raul is thinking, a year with Jose Mourinho. Yeah, I'll go for that.
OK, time for moments of the season. You've all got your individual moments of the season. The team here has got their moments of the season too. Mm-hmm. We're universal, aren't we? It's that back heel.
It has to be. It's just so unprecedented. No player does that in a situation like this, except if your name's Jose Maria Gutierrez. And this is incredible. He's about to score, and then he does that. That's just breathtaking to actually have the audacity to do that. And he is a stylish, quality player. And it looks like he's leaving Real Madrid, but he's leaving in style.
That epitomises him, doesn't it? That one moment is what we'll probably remember more than anything else amongst all the hairstyles. Hairstyles, Gibbo, hairstyles. It's a beautiful thing, a bit like Wappa.
Wappa! Wappa, wappa, wappa! Whoppa! 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 Whoppa!
Eso es guapa.
Cup final, of course, Wednesday night, the Copa del Rey final from the Camp Nou. Atletico Madrid, Sevilla, our final game of the season. 8 o'clock, Sky Sports, HD 3 and 3. And boys, come on, for Atleti, Opa Atleti, give me a yes, Atleti are going to win the Cup. Go on, get out. Go on, out you go. We're shutting up shop early tonight. Jerry's run out of his booze, so we're off to another party somewhere else. Been a great season. Time to celebrate. Have a good summer.
When it's time to party, we will party hard.
More sport, news, views and video highlights at skysports.com.